Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 7th of November. British Prime Minister promises liberal visa system for Indian businessmen. UN launches probe into US airstrike that killed at least 30 Afghan civilians. And Hindus across India mark Sun God Thanksgiving festival. And now for all the details, British Prime Minister Theresa May, who is on a state visit to India, held discussions with Indian counterpart Narendra Modi on taking the trade and cultural ties to the next level. She promised to ease access to the UK for Indian business travellers.
Visiting British Prime Minister Theresa May on Monday called on her Indian counterpart Narendra Modi in New Delhi, where both the leaders held talks on various bilateral issues. Britain and India signed agreements on intellectual property rights and ease on doing business. Prime Ministers May and Modi explored avenues on boosting bilateral ties at the India-UK Tech Summit.
Education is vital for our students and will define our engagement in a shared future. We must therefore encourage greater mobility and participation of young people in educational and research opportunities.
Prime Minister May, on the other hand, said that the two sides need not wait for Brexit to happen to tap the potential in trade ties.
I will be discussing with Prime Minister Modi how we can increase the detail and depth of our trade and investment discussions and identify what more we can do now to unleash our businesses, industries, exporters and investors. This does not need to wait for us to leave the EU.
Prime Minister May is on a three-day visit to India along with United Kingdom's International Trade Secretary Liam Fox in a bid to develop British business interests after the UK's decision to leave the European Union. It is May's first state visit outside Europe since she assumed the office of Prime Minister.
Pakistani army once again violated ceasefire and resorted to unprovoked firing in Poonch district of India's Jammu and Kashmir province on Monday. In Shopian district, one terrorist was killed in an overnight encounter between the security forces and the terrorist.
Pakistani troops on Monday fired mortar shells at Indian posts and civilian areas in Mendhar sector of Poonch district along the line of control or LOC, which was retaliated by the Indian troops. This is the 101st incident of ceasefire violation by Pakistan following India's surgical strike across the line of control or LOC on September 29. 2 army personnel were killed when Pakistani army opened fire in a bid to facilitate 2 infiltration bids along the LOC in Krishna Ghati and Poonch sectors on Sunday. A massive gunfight also broke out in Shopian district in which a terrorist was neutralized and an army personnel sustained injuries. A joint team of army and police launched an operation last night after receiving specific information about untoward elements.
More on news from India. The Indian capital New Delhi continues to reel under a thick blanket of smog. While authorities have pressed the panic button, residents are struggling to cope with the alarming pollution problem.
India's Federal Environment Minister Anil Dave on Monday chaired a high-level meeting on the prevailing hazardous air pollution in Delhi. Following the provincial government's call for intervention of the federal government, the latter had declared a state of emergency in Delhi.
100% अगर हम समस्या को गिनते हैं तो उसमें वो 20%, 80% समस्या हमारी है। इसको हमको समझना होगा कि दिल्ली की समस्या 80% है, 20% में अन्य राज्यों से जो पराली जलने के कारण आता है वह हिस्सा है जो कि 70-80% के आसपास जल गई है। उसका जो नुकसान हमें होना था हो गया है। आगे उसको करना पड़ेगा और देखना पड़ेगा और उसे एड्रेस करना पड़ेगा। लेकिन दिल्ली के अंदर हमको 365 दिन प्रतिदिन इस पे काम करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये एक 2 करोड़ की आबादी वाला शहर है और इसके अंदर हम सीजनल नहीं हो सकते।
On Monday, local authorities began to sprinkle water using jet pressure pump technique to control air pollution. The Delhi government has announced some emergency measures to combat the alarming levels of pollution, which include shutting down of schools for 3 days, halting construction and demolition activities for 5 days, banning use of generators powered by diesel, among others, for a few days. The government also said that even odd car rationing scheme might be brought back to control the pollution levels. The air quality index has crossed the hazardous mark of 500 on average in Delhi, with the figure crossing beyond 1,000 in many places. Residents have been complaining of irritated eyes, throats and lungs. Delhi has been covered with thick smog for last 1 week, majorly due to the Diwali fireworks, burning of crops in neighbouring provinces and minimal speed of wind.
Moving on to news from Afghanistan, the United Nations has launched an investigation into the US airstrike that killed at least 30 civilians, including women and children, in Afghanistan. The airstrike was targeted at Taliban militants who were taking shelter among civilians in the northern province of Kunduz. US-led NATO airstrikes have often been criticized for taking a toll on civilian lives. The growing civilian casualty, when 95 have been killed and over 100 injured in the past week alone, have highlighted the precarious security situation in the war-torn country. As the projects under the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, continues to take shape, Baloch leaders and activists across the globe say that crackdown by the Pakistani troops have also intensified. The Baloch are determined to resist the nexus between Beijing and Islamabad and the exploitative designs against the Baloch nation.
Exiled Baloch leaders and activists took part in a protest rally demanding freedom of southwestern Balochistan province from Pakistan in London on Sunday. The demonstrators also protested against the construction of the multi-billion-dollar China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC project. Organized by Free Balochistan Movement, this was the second week-long round-the-clock protest by the group outside the Chinese embassy in London. The protesters shouted anti-Pakistan slogans on the streets of London and alleged that Islamabad had intensified its brutalities against innocent Baloch people residing on the CPEC route. They say that projects under CPEC are an exploitation of their resources with zero benefit to Baloch people. Part of CPEC, the Gwadar port in southwestern Balochistan province, has prime geographical location connecting Central Asia, South Asia and the Middle East. They also claim that if voices are raised, they are subjected to arrests, torture, killing, abduction by the Pakistani troops.
Moving on, large number of devotees in India gathered on banks of river Ganges and other water bodies to offer prayers to the sun god on the occasion of Chhath festival. The festival also marks the celebration of new harvest that is offered to the sun.
Thousands of devout Hindus across India celebrated Chhath, the sun god Thanksgiving festival, with much zeal from 4th to 7th November. Celebrated on the 6th and 7th days after Diwali, the festival is significant for married Hindu women who observe fast and present religious offerings to the sun god while standing in a river. Chhath is celebrated with great fanfare, especially in eastern Bihar province. It is celebrated with fervour in neighbouring Nepal too. Devotees observe fast for 4 days. Each day involves performing different rituals.
पहले नहाय खाए से व्रत शुरू होता है, उसमें कद्दू भात से होते, दूसरे दिन खरना किया जाता है, तीसरे दिन पहला अर्घ है, इसके चौथा दिन आहुति पूरा किया जाता है.
It is dedicated to worship of the sun, which is considered as the god of energy and life force. The third day is considered the toughest as women observe rigid fast and do not consume food or water till the sunrise. Other rituals observed during Chhath include holy bathing, standing in water for long hours, and offering prayers to the setting and rising sun.
To bring the children closer to their culture and roots, a program was organized in India's northern Jammu region. Children presented several songs in their regional language at the event.
A cultural program to promote the Kashmiri culture among the children was organized in India's Jammu and Kashmir province. The event drew attention of many that saw performances presented by the children in their regional language.
यही हमारी प्रोजनी है, यही इस आर्ट को आगे ले जाएंगे, यही हमारी लैंग्वेज को आगे ले जाएंगे, यही हमारे कल्चर को आगे ले जाएंगे। ये सिंगिंग तो एक मीडियम है, हम पहले बच्चे की सोच के अंदर घुसना चाहते हैं। जब हम उसको पहले इम्प्रेस कर पाएंगे, जब हम उसको पहले एक प्लेटफॉर्म देंगे, उस बच्चे के जहन में भी ये बात रहेगी, हाँ मैं अपने कल्चर से दूर हो रहा हूँ, मैं अपने कल्चर को प्रिजर्व कर सकता हूँ अगर मैं अपनी मदर टंग पे कंसंट्रेट कर पाऊँ।
Nearly 100 Kashmiri youth from Delhi, Haryana, Chandigarh and many parts of the country took part in the program.
Glitz and shine ruled the fashion ramp as international style was put on display in a fashion event in India's showbiz capital, Mumbai. Take a look. Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. British Prime Minister promises liberal visa system for Indian businessmen. UN launches probe into US airstrike that killed at least 30 Afghan civilians. And Hindus across India mark Sun God Thanksgiving festival. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.